Okay, good morning, everybody. It is Tuesday, August 10th, 2021, and we're going to get started with our pre-market analysis for the S&P 500 futures market. First, I do want to point out on Monday, yesterday, I was, I guess you could say, sick. I went to bed with a headache, woke up with an even worse headache. So I pretty much had to get some NSAIDs in me and sleep it off all morning. So did not trade on yesterday, but I am back and ready to go today. One quick thing I want to show you that's just kind of interesting from a retracement perspective is that final. Remember, we were in this huge chop zone for whatever it was, maybe 10 days of market action. And then here on August 3rd, we kind of had this final leg where we covered most of that range of the previous 10 days. And we shot from around 65 up to the high that it made that day, right around 44.17. If you measure that leg with a fib, notice that going into August 4th, we did pull back and bounce essentially directly off the 50% retracement of that leg. And then just want to show you that the 27% extension happened to be at 44.31, and the market went ahead, bounced from that 50% retracement, found resistance right at that 44.31 area. So just kind of interesting to note that. And then in this more local leg, so from where we bounced off that 50% retracement, we do have this new leg up top. And so we have the low from 91 to the high we made right around, I believe it was 33.25 on Friday. And notice that when we pulled back coming into the Globex session on Sunday of this week, we went ahead and bounced right off the 50% retracement of this new leg right here. And now you can see that we're trying to follow through here and continue to push. Now, what we're going to talk about this morning is the fact that we did get a lot of bearish indications off of the high that we made on Friday off of 33.25. And from there, we could have expected to have some type of sell-off into Globex. We did go ahead and pull back about 20 points and then found support again off that 50% retracement of this specific leg here. And they're continuing to push. But what I said last night in our trade room is that we did have a push up in yesterday's market to come up and essentially test that all-time high where we got all the bearish indications, and then we got another sell-off going into the Globex session last night. So it'll be interesting to see. I believe I put in the Discord room that although we have all of these bearish indications from the Friday high, we are in some type of perma-bull type of market right now. And although we could expect anywhere from a 50 to a 200 point sell-off from the daily bearish indication that we got, the bulls could very well jump in and continue to just push this. Now, remember I said yesterday it was very, very kind of tight. On Friday, I talked about the range from 44.19 to 44.29, essentially this whole area here that I'm circling over here. I was not interested in trading within that range because I expected it to be fairly choppy, and sure enough, throughout Friday, that was a very choppy area. And then coming into the market yesterday, here's the open somewhere around here on our 630 chart, again from about 44.19 to about 44.29 up here. This was an area I was really not interested in trading. Now, there was a decent bearish indication when we came back up and tried to push past the previous daily high at 32. So maybe at that point, at the end of the day, there were some good indications to try a short, and you would have been able to ride that all the way down through into Globex. But overall, yesterday I probably would have not placed a single trade had I have been here. And unfortunately, here we are today, this morning, and we're right back inside this range again, about 44.19, 44.17 to about 44.29, 44.30. And so we're basically right in the middle of all that So I don't anticipate there being anything too sexy this morning. So let's go ahead and jump to our ultra high time frames as we do every morning, just to see what the picture looks like from up there. We're going to go to our quarterly chart here, and I just have this green box here just showing that we do have overall a very bullish case here on our quarterly chart. No signs of exhaustion, as we've been saying for probably since we started the trade room 4 months ago. On the monthly chart, same deal. No signs of exhaustion off the previous candle that closed from July, and no indications right now of exhaustion. Everything still looks very strong. And if we look at this slope that we put up here, or this trend line, so this trend line from all the price action that we made since the sell-off of COVID, you can see that the current monthly bar is still holding that. Now, if we were testing it or just a little bit below it, I don't know if that would necessarily mean, that's a huge indication of a sell-off, but it's just interesting to note that we're still holding this here. So if they did continue to push price, we would have bars that look similar to the last 4 or 5 monthly bars here. So still looking very strong on the monthly, no signs of exhaustion. And then our weekly here as well, still looking very strong, no signs of exhaustion off the previous weekly candle that closed. And on the current candle that for this week, we have, today and then 3 more days of price action. So can't really say too much about that right now. Let's go down to our daily here. And the daily, although we have somewhat of a bullish momentum, bullish bias off of the lows on all of these pullbacks, we do want to keep in mind there's a bullish case, but we also do have the bearish indication off of Friday's high that we talked about at the beginning of our session here. So we do have bullish indications off the lows in a very strong bullish push, but we want to keep in mind that one bearish indication that we got from 44.33 quarter, the high of Friday. And you can see here on the daily candle, so off of Monday's candle here, which has officially closed, we did actually get a bullish divergence off that low at 44.12 quarter. So we'll have to see if this does go ahead and follow through. Also kind of interesting to note that we do have that huge wick to the downside, so somewhat of a bullish looking bar there just from that. Now, if we do come down and break 12 quarter, that is kind of going to be a line in the sand there for the bulls. They would ideally like to hold 12 quarter, hold the bottom wick there to continue pushing here and follow through with all of these previous bullish indications. Let's take a look at our 4 hour, and the 4 hour is agreeing with the daily. Again, overall, if you zoom out, everything looks extremely bullish. And then as we get closer to the current market price, we also do have the bullish indications off of the lows of any type of these pullbacks or shallow pullbacks. But we do want to keep in mind, just like on the daily chart, we do have that bearish indication off 33 quarter. And that's a reason why I have this sort of see-through green block here, just for my own record, or just for my own kind of sake here, telling me that things look bullish. However, we do have that bearish indication off of the previous daily high. Let's go to our 60 minute. 60 minute also looking essentially the same here. Overall, looks very, very strong here. Of course, we were sideways for that 10 days, and then we continued to push. But same thing, bullish indications off of any of the pullbacks. And then we have that bearish case, from the previous, from the Friday high. And then even arguably the previous daily high. Let me go to my 4 hour really quickly here. The 4 hour did not, okay, I take it back. So the 4 hour did have a bearish indication off of not the previous daily high, but that retest of the high that was made in yesterday's market, where we came just a few ticks below it. So we do have that bearish indication on the 4-hour, and then we do have it on the hourly. So off the previous daily high, or just a few ticks below the previous daily high, we do have that bearish indication on the 4-hour and the 60-minute. But we do have the counter indications off of the lows on the pullback. So again, everything looks bullish from a larger perspective, but we do have the bearish indication off of the highs. So it's not as strong of a bullish case that we see here on the quarterly, the monthly, and the weekly, where there are no signs of bearishness off the highs. So that's where we are on our high time frames. Let's jump down to our intermediate time frames, more so just to see if we're getting agreement with what those high time frames are saying. And sure enough, you have the two bearish indications from Friday's highs and from yesterday's market highs. Then we do have the bullish indications off the lows. So again, somewhat of a mixed market at the moment over in here on the intermediate time frames. Yes, we do have a nice bullish divergence off of the low that we made in the overnight session. So that's going to be an important level. If we just jump up to our 60-minute one more time, in fact, let me look at the 4-hour. So the 4-hour, the 60-minute, and now the 30-minute are all showing bullish divergence off of that overnight low, or if it wasn't directly off the overnight low or the Globex low, off of that push and pullback, we then got it here on the 30-minute. So overall, the low of the overnight low being 1650, that's going to be our first line in the sand that we're going to want to see the bulls hold, because we do have 4-hour. And actually, now that I think about it, if we go back here, we talked about the daily candle. Look at the daily candle, also did have a very clear bullish divergence off the lows. So we do have the daily, the 60-minute, the 4-hour, so the daily all the way down to the 30-minute showing bullish indications off of the lows back here. So the daily was off the previous daily low, which was 12.25. Everything else is right off of this 1650. So these are our two lines in the sand this morning that we're going to want to see hold for any type of bullish case. Of course, we are up from 16 to about 26, 28, so about 10 points from where we got this indication on the intermediate and shorter time frames here. And on the 10-minute, we do see from that previous daily low, 12.25, got the bullish indication on the 10-minute. And then over here, maybe the 10-minute doesn't agree, but overall, a lot of great bullish indications from 1650 and from 12.25, and the 10-minute is essentially agreeing with the bearish case off the previous daily high, or like I said, just a few ticks in front of the previous daily high. I think that's where that will leave us today. Again, the potential for us to be stuck in this, and let me leave this chart up, the potential for us to be stuck in this 44, let's say 17 to 44.30 area. If that's the case, I'm not going to be too interested in looking for trades. As you can see, although we do have some pretty good reactions off of the levels that we have marked on the chart here. In fact, this level here at 44.20 ended up being support all through the pre-market session yesterday. Our important level at 16.25 held on these pullbacks. So you can see that the levels we have marked, despite it being extremely choppy, do end up being respected many times. But they also have situations here where things just shoot right through everything and then shoot right through everything to the upside as well. So that's why I'm not too wild about placing trades over in this general area here. Just because of the fact that we could have these very strong sell-offs or strong buys right through all these levels. And I'd like to get out of this area. So this morning, 12.25, 16.50 are both going to be interesting lines to watch, or levels to watch here, to see if the bulls can defend. And then obviously getting through 32 and then the all-time high just a few ticks above that will be a great case for the bulls here this morning. So that's where I'll leave it for everybody.